Hey everyone!
Hey!
Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we are gonna discuss the sheriff of Fractured Jaw?
Fractured Jaw.
Now, when I first heard that title, I'm like, does the sheriff have like a fractured jaw or something?
It can be a little confusing. That's the name of the town that it's based in the fictional town of Fractured Jaw. Now, this was a long movie.
It was. Now, this movie came out in 1958, I believe. I had Jayne Mansfield and some other guy.
The British comedic actor Kenneth More.
And like all the other movies, Jayne Mansfield was just a supporting actress in this movie. I thought she would at least star in one, but honestly, she did have a lot of scenes in this movie.
A lot more than the other ones we've watched, surprisingly.
I also feel like in this movie, Jayne Mansfield did a lot more acting than the other two because she had to do a southern accent. She was trying to do her best Dolly Parton, even though... Was Dolly Parton around at that time?
Not even yet. Like, this is the thing, it seems like you watch it, I watched it, it's like, this seems like a Dolly Parton role. Like, the way it's acted and everything, but it's like proto-Dolly Parton.
We are mostly going to talk about Jayne Mansfield because honestly, she's the most interesting one, and that's the only reason why I was watching these movies. I don't want to get into the other characters because honestly, they were boring, and this movie was like really long and boring for some reason. So, we'll start off just setting up the plot of this movie. It is a rich man who is the failure of the family. Gang is playing.
Yeah, he's an English businessman and he's got a super rich family and they're just like, you got to go out there and make something of yourself because we're not going to support you anymore.
He was trying to do all these inventions. Like he tried to create a horse carriage without the horses, basically a car with an engine, but then it blew up. And then he was like, okay, never mind. Let me go take care of this, my family gun business.
Yeah, his family are gun manufacturers and like long prestigious like hunting rifles. So he decides, I'm gonna go west and sell my guns in the Wild West where there's a lot of tension going on right now.
So he goes to Fractured Jaw where there's tensions between Native Americans and the cowboys there. And boy, this film did not age well when it came to that. Oh my God. The vocabulary that we're using towards the Native Americans, I was like,
it was wild.
You will get canceled here in 2022.
Yeah, it was really not okay. And honestly, it seemed a little unnecessary because like even the Native American drama that they put in there was sort of like a third kind of plot. It was more about like the drama between all the cowboys in town just not being able to get along because there is no authority in town.
So it was drama channels everywhere.
Meanwhile, Jayne Mansfield is playing a saloon owner who just wants to sing her little songs.
And that is when the character, Jonathan Tibbs, comes into Fractured Jaw because he was just gonna sell those guns to the cowboys to help with the Native Americans, which I'm like...
Yeah, and like one thing leads to another. He gets way too drunk at the bar and ends up becoming the sheriff the next day after a whole fight breaks out and they believe that he shot dead one of the outlaws. When really it was just an accident and like, you know, him trying to one-up the other guy.
And guess what? That is when Jayne Mansfield shows up, aka Kate.
Yep, Miss Kate.
And is she the owner of the bar? I didn't catch that.
The bar owner / inn / saloon girl, main girl on cast.
Yeah, she was like a lot. So it seemed to me, because you know I have a short attention span, but I was really trying hard to pay attention this time.
She was wearing several hats and several corsets.
So it seemed like she was like part like owner or like maybe a show director of this bar, but she was really tough. She was playing a tough character. That's why I was like, okay, Jayne, I haven't seen you act like this in the other two movies.
Yeah, and like before she was signed to Fox, she had done like a couple of gangster movies where she played like gangster moles and girlfriends. So this is kind of refreshing me to see her back in a position where she has a little bit of power and edge.
And see, I did not know this. So she was basically J-Lo in Hustlers.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, she was a businesswoman. I mean, you had never seen this movie, but she kind of reminded me a lot of The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Dolly Parton's character in that. They probably pulled a lot from this character when they were writing that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie. See, we have different interests. I'm more into like movies that have CGI or like horror is where we meet. Horror is where we meet. Thrillers. I used to be a lot into sci-fi, so that's why I haven't watched any of these. I know somebody questioned like, why have you known James so long and you haven't watched these? Well, because we have different interests.
We have different interests, and that's perfectly fine. Although you were quite interested in the rear projection that was going on.
Oh yes! Oh my God! So I thought they had a green screen up in this movie because there were some scenes where Jayne was on set filming this, but then there were some scenes where she was clearly in front of a projector, which I was like, is that a green screen? But then I realized it's a projector.
Yeah, it's a projector with an image in the back of it.
And I must say that Jayne had some really, really good costumes in this movie.
Yeah, like period dramas, she always looks really good in, especially like Western. Like Western wear was really tailor-made for her body type. Like she looks even curvier than she actually is. It's like The cinching was cinching.
Like, these are the outfits that I was missing in Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, because these had a lot, and even some of them were like really good, but she only was in them for like a few minutes of the scene.
Oh, that red dress from the saloon, yeah, it's like literally 3 seconds and it's done.
And Jayne Mansfield also plays like a singer, a performing artist. So she's like bar owner, bad performing artist. So, and honestly, I got gooped. I was like, oh my god, she can sing. And then James is like, that is not her voice, that is a dub. So she Milli Vanilli'd us.
Or Boney M, you know, any of those artists that were known for lip syncing other people's like voices. She was actually dubbed by Connie Francis. She was her singing voice in this film. And Connie Francis is a very famous singer from the 1960s.
And apparently you told me that she became a huge pop star right after this movie.
Oh, yeah. Like, she was ghost singing for Jane in this. And I think she did ghost singing for a couple other movies. But then she exploded with songs like Lipstick on Your Collar, Where the Boys Are. Like, she was a major artist.
And we're just going to end the plot of this movie so
Yeah.
we can talk more about Jane. At the end, Jonathan Tibbs ends up selling guns to the Native Americans instead. So at the end, also, this town is very like anti-12, if you know what I mean. So
it was very that though. It's completely run by outlaws.
So yeah, basically throughout the whole movie, they're like, hey, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. There's a coroner just waiting for him to die, because that's where all the sheriffs end up, is the cemetery. But to end the movie, the Cowboys and Fracture Jaw basically try to kill him, but the Native Americans come to save him, outnumber the Cowboys, and the Cowboys surrender.
Yeah, and like a very strange plot where they made him an honorary member of the tribe, and it was uncomfortable to watch.
I'm gonna lie, I'm like, when I was watching the Native Americans in these movies, I'm like, are they legitimate Native Americans, or are they like white folks in brownface?
I mean, I do not know. I tried to like look it up, and honestly, on IMDb, there's very few credits, if only this is the only credit they have. I believe the man that played the chief might have been of Native descent.
Because, you know, back in earlier movies, they didn't care about like casting the actual heritage or ethnicity of the character.
Yeah, and this movie was made in England, so that might also lead us to some conclusions.
Oh my god, which brings us back to there was 2 cowboys that were trying to make a southern western
So
American accent so bad.
And like you can hear their like posh accents coming through, like it's so bad.
I mean, Jane's was actually kind of good. I could see her like her southern accent. She was like getting out of it every now and then. I could hear the Jane where she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna speak in regular sentence." Like, "Oh no, wait, never mind. I'm southern again."
Yeah, she would like go in and out of it, and also she lived in Texas briefly, so like she knew how to do the accent from living there. But you can tell like they probably were like, "Okay, knock it off," because we actually have to hear what you're saying. Because a lot of it starts to get drowned together.
And honestly, I was kind of shook in this movie. I was like, is that Jane riding a horse full speed? Like, I had to like zoom in. They did a good job because the film cameras did not catch the close-up details, because it's not like 4K, 6K, 8K. So from far away, it looked like Jane, but I was pretty sure it was a stunt woman.
It was some stunt woman padded to the gods on that horse with a giant bullet bra on.
The bullet bras do all the tricks. Sometimes I'm like, were those Jane's real boobs, or were they just all padded?
I mean, I've seen her pictures of her in Playboy, and I think a lot of it was her, but I feel like the padding, like the bullet bra, just accentuated it more.
Yeah, because her dimensions are crazy. Just like boom, boom, and then boom, let her pee back here.
Yeah, no butt at all.
Oh yeah, and James actually, when I was watching the movie, was like, I think this role was supposed to be meant for Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I was looking into some of like the backstory of it, and apparently Fox had bought this years before with the idea of making a Western with Marilyn Monroe in mind. It did not happen, and they sold it to a British, producer later on, and Jane was put in. But I couldn't imagine Marilyn playing Jane's part. Like,
yeah, because Jane was like aggressive.
Jane was tough. And I don't know, Marilyn, I don't see her pulling that off. Maybe Barbara Nichols, but definitely not Marilyn.
Now there's this pink costume that I was like, oh, okay. I feel like Dolly Parton, or maybe that's just Western style. I don't know. I'm not really into Western movies. But there was this pink dress that Jane had with like white ruffle print.
Yeah, it's like white lace.
Yeah, white lace. That's what I meant. I don't even know my material. But yeah, I was like, okay, Dolly may have been inspired by this.
Yeah, it looked just like a dress version of the jumpsuit she wore on Just Because I'm a Woman, the cover of that. I used to have that album. Like, it looked just like that.
It looked just like it. Also, she was wearing this green business suit that was a gown.
a business suit gown.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, she better work.
It was almost like Pee Wee Herman with the little bow tie and everything.
Like, the costuming in this movie was it for Jayne. Actually, a lot of the costuming, even for the males and the cowboys, is really good. The film quality, for me, it kind of looked a little cheaper than the other two movies, but the sets and the costumes were all there.
Yeah, because this was the beginning of Jayne being loaned out by 20th Century Fox, where she really hated this because they'd loan her out for a contract salary, but they would get like double, if like triple the amount for loaning her out to other companies.
Now, this is the final movie in the Jayne Mansfield collection. Do you think there was a movie that was missing in here?
If we're going off of all of our 20th Century Fox, I think we are kind of shafted by not having Kiss Them For Me and The Wayward Bus, which are all of her Fox movies. And there's other ones that are foreign made, but as far as like all the ones that were released by 20th Century Fox, those should be in here.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, this is it?
Yeah, like 3, and like I remember seeing a couple of these where like you look at the side and like they're really narrow DVDs just so they could fit more movies in there. They really kind of cheaped out on this. Like, they gave you 2 of her heavy hitters and then 1 throwaway movie.
Yeah, this Western one was, ooh, it was tough to get through because I personally do not enjoy Western movies.
Yeah, and like maybe they wanted to keep it lighthearted because I guess they were marketing her as more of a comedian with this like collection. Because Wayward Bus is very serious, and it's like a Jayne Mansfield novel, and Kiss Them For Me was a flop. So, and she got really horrible reviews in it, so that's probably why they didn't re-release it with this.
Wait, which movie is the one where it was all scandalous, where she was all like naked at the beginning scene, and there was like, oh my god.
Oh, that wasn't for Fox. That was after she had left 20th Century Fox. That's Promises, Promises.
Wow.
Where she was the first major Hollywood actress naked in a movie.
Well, she better work. Something cool about this box set is that it does come with little 8x10s. It says Cinema Classic Collections 20th Century Lobby Cards.
Yes, and this was something you could get back in the 1950s, back when movies were really, really a big deal.
Yep, so it says Rock Hunter, in parentheses, Tony Randall, immortalizes himself in Hollywood cement as Rita Marlowe, parentheses, Jayne Mansfield, looks on. So I don't know if you can see that.
Like, they're really nice pictures.
They're really nice pictures. This is Rita Marlowe, and... Oh, who's that? Kissed by George... Oh, I cannot say that.
Georgie Schmidlap.
Schmidlap. Yep, from that movie, from the first movie we watched.
Her and Groucho.
Oh no, that's the second movie.
Yeah, the second movie.
Was Successful Rock Hunter. Rita Marlowe again.
In her famous bathing suit with the fur coat.
Oh, let me go back, just in case I went too fast. Rita Marlowe again. These are some really good quality photos. Oh, and this is the first movie we watched.
The Girl Can't Help It.
The Girl Can't Help It. That's where she had the best costumes. Like, look, boom, this.
Yeah, that one, iconic.
Iconic. This is again The Girl Can't Help It. Did we just mix them all up?
Yeah.
This is
That's
the literature. That's The Girl Can't Help It. Oh, actually, it has the names right here. I'm over here trying to guess. The Sheriff with a Fractured Jaw. Here's the 2 possible Native Americans.
They had lobby cards for that in there? I didn't even know.
Yes. Here she goes again, Jayne. So it has it for like all the movies. These are actually really cute. Oh, this outfit is cute. This obviously the picture shows black and white, but this was black and pink. Black pink. And this is when she was performing. She had a lot of good outfits, especially when she was performing. I was like, oh, come on, production.
And she had backup dancers. It was everything.
Well, yeah, that is it. This movie, if you want to watch it, just make sure you have a lot of time because I think it's like 2 hours.
It's a long one.
And you have to really pay attention. If you're into storyline, into Westerns, this might be for you. Not for me, but Jayne Mansfield was sickening in this.
Yeah, she looked great, and honestly, even though her clothes were kind of conservative, like they were really well made, and like they're just interesting to look at. Like everything I look like, that's fascinating.
The movie plot was basically spoiled for you, but
there was a lot of plot we missed too, so you'll probably pick up on some things we did not get up. So
this concludes the Jayne Mansfield collection from Cinema Classics Collection 20th Century Fox. That's her. This is her.
Hopefully someday they'll release a better collection with more movies because she deserves something better than that.
Right. I'm like, she was a good entertainer. I just don't understand why she hasn't had like something remade like for Netflix or anything like that. Something like major Hollywood film budget. Kind of like Marilyn gets like a new movie like every few years.
Yeah, and considering Jayne's life was wild and interesting and she had such an eccentric life, it would make a tailor-made thing for a vehicle for Netflix.
If y'all are listening, someone out there put it in the studio's heads to make a Jayne Mansfield project.
Give us a girl boss Jayne Mansfield Netflix movie.
HBO Max, Paramount Plus.
Anything.
All right, that is it. I hope you like this little mini series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay trifling, and until next time, deuces. Well, that was it.
Yeah.
On to our dumb videos that we're gonna make after this, and hopefully watch other old Hollywood movies because I'm still trying to get into Maryland. I haven't seen no Maryland movies.
Oh, I know just the movie to start with.
Bye.
Bye.